Very good afternoon, good morning to all students. Today we are having our second lecture in the series. Today, Dr. Tanuja P. Ajotikar, Assistant Professor, the Sanskrit Library, Co-Director, India Programs, Department of Sanskrit, Maharishi Vedic University. She will be delivering a lecture on Sandhi Prakaranam. Today she will discuss on Swara Sandhis and Visarga Sandhis. A short information of Tanuja Madam. Dr. Tanuja earned her MPhil in Sanskrit at Pune University and her PhD in Sanskrit in the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences at IIT Bombay with a dissertation on Sanskrit wordnet. She is also trained as a traditional scholar of Paninian grammar, having earned a degree of Abhijna at the Vedashastrotejaka Sabha in Pune. After submitting her thesis, she worked as a postdoctoral research associate in the Sanskrit Libraries project to produce a digital descriptive catalogue of the Sanskrit manuscripts at Harvard University's used um, Houghton Library, where she was also a visiting scholar in Harvard's Department of South Asian Studies. She then taught Sanskrit at Sri B.N. Kanakabadi Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya in Belgaum, Karnataka for almost 2 years. Currently, she is working as a co-director India program in the Department of Sanskrit at Maharishi Vedic University in Lodrop, the Netherlands, offers online courses related to Vedic literature, Ayurveda, and traditional Sanskrit grammar through the Sanskrit Library. The link of that is sanskritlibrary.org. Students, you can visit the link. She, along with Professor Peter M. Shah, has trained PhD students in India to use digital technology to develop digital resources for Sanskrit. She has published more than 15 research papers and regularly presents at international conferences on Paninian grammar and digital philology. She is well versed in reading several ancient Indic scripts and has participated in critical editing projects and manuscripts cataloging. So I welcome Dr. Tanuja. A very warm welcome to you, madam. And with us, we have our HOD, Dr. Rishikesh. Madam, from the Department of Ayurvedic Samhita and Siddhanta, JSS Ayurvedic Medical College, we welcome you. Now, you please take over the session, madam. Ma'am, you are not audible, I think.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
ma'am.
Okay. So, do I need to keep my video on or off?
You can keep your video on, ma'am, no problem.
Okay, just a minute. Give me a second.
Lecture is streaming live on YouTube also, so better if you keep your video on.
Yeah. So, I thank Dr. Shruti and the head of the department, Dr. Rishikesh, for inviting me to share my knowledge with Ayurveda students. As it is already said that what on which topic I am going to present, I have a PPT presentation that I will share with you, and I'm really happy to talk about grammar aspect related to Sanskrit and in the context of Ayurveda texts, because most of the times the medical aspect of traditional Ayurveda text is much talked upon, and people are interested in it from the medical fraternity, medical field. But most of the times the language aspect of the Sanskrit texts, of all of the Sanskrit texts, especially in Ayurveda, sometimes it is, takes, it doesn't take really front seat. So it's good to learn Sanskrit. It's good to learn grammatical aspect of Sanskrit in order to understand Sanskrit in Ayurveda texts, because it's not just translation helps us in the understanding those scriptures or the basic texts, but also if we are able to understand those texts on our own, if we have the ability to understand those texts and then interpret it, then the tradition flows. It doesn't become stagnant. So with this little bit of my point of view, to always very enthusiastic to teach Ayurveda students Sanskrit is is very dear to me. So let us start today's topic. The main topic I'm going to talk about sandhis in general. I did not give much attention to talk about sandhi rules in Paninian grammar, because then the subject becomes too technical, and you people are about to give your exams. So I have put all of my focus on the basic concepts related to Sanskrit sandhis. So whatever is helpful to you, you can take with you in today's lecture. So basically, whenever we talk about sandhis, or whenever we hear the name sandhi, what do we mean by that word? That we should always understand. So sandhi is very simply can be explained in a very simple word, that sandhi is an adesha. Sandhi is an adesha. Adesha is a technical Sanskrit Paninian term, but simply we can say it in simple language that it is a substitute. Sandhi is a substitute, because the word sandhi is also used in modern Indian languages. Like I am a Marathi speaker, we use the word sandhi most frequently in the sense of opportunity. So just don't mix your own native language understanding with Sanskrit words. Don't mix it up. Sandhi is a technical word. Sandhi is also used in some other context, but in grammar context, in linguistic context, the word sandhi means a substitute. And when this substitute take place, when is this substitute take place, and what is the purpose or reason for this substitute? These are two important things to know at the outset. So when a sound follows a sound, then this substitute takes place. So sandhi happens in the context of two sounds when they are following when one sound is following the other sound. And what is the reason? Hetu or nimitta. What is the reason behind this substitute? Is the sound itself. Sometimes it's a preceding sound, sometimes it's a following sound. Most of the time it is preceding sound. So this preceding sound, most of the times it is following sound, and the substitute most of the times takes place at the place of the preceding sound. So when a sound follows a sound, the sound itself or the position or the order of those sounds is itself a nimitta for that substitution. And not to forget that there are two types of substitutes Panini taught us, and those are ekadesha sandhis and non-ekadesha sandhis. Non-ekadesha sandhis is not a coined word. I myself coined it, because when we talk about ekadesha sandhis, means single substitute sandhis, Then what is the other type? It just which is not Ekadesha Sandhis. So I just coined it for the sake of understanding that it is non-Ekadesha Sandhis. So sometimes both the sound, the preceding and following sounds, is replaced by a different sound, and sometimes only the first sound gets replaced. So simply in an equation we can say that Ekadesha Sandhi, Ekadesha replacement, Ekadesha substitute in the form of sound change, we can put simply in an equation that if there is a situation that A plus B, this is the order where now these are two sounds. A is a sound, B is a sound. Sound means sound in the language. Then both of these A and B are replaced by a different type of different sound, that is C. Their phonetic properties are considered, but the sound which replaces both of these is a slightly different from these both of the sounds. This is Ekadesha Sandhi. And non-Ekadesha Sandhi is if there is A plus B, then sometimes C changes or sometimes B changes. So in a simple word, what is a Sandhi? If you have to write in your exam in one in simple sentence, we can say that Sandhi is a euphonic junction of final and initial sounds, and euphony means the tendency to make a phonetic change for ease of pronunciation. Sandhi is a change, as I said at the very beginning on the very beginning slide, that it's a substitute, it's a replacement. Sandhi is a kind of change that occurs between two sounds which are in order. It's not the case that some sound is at the first position and the other sound is at the fifth position, then the first position will change, and because of this fifth sound. It doesn't happen. They should be uninterruptedly following each the other. One sound should follow the other sound uninterruptedly. There should not be any interruption. The previous and the following sounds undergo sometimes change. Sometimes both the sounds undergo, sometimes one of them undergoes, and those generally occur at the end of the pada, the initial sound of the following, and at the initial sound position of the following pada. So it is to be noted that when we talk about sandhis, the main purpose to dissolve sandhi and to restore the original sounds is to know word boundaries in a sentence. However, in Sanskrit, even there are sandhis internally in a pada, internally in the word. Generally, we don't dissolve them. When we talk about sandhis from the point of view of reading text, from the point of view of understanding texts, we should know a sentence. We should know all of the padas in that sentence. And the first step to understand all of the components in a sentence in the form of a pada, we need to dissolve sandhis at the boundary of that pada. So whenever I am talking about today, I am talking about external pada sandhi. Sandhi that occurs at the boundary, at the final position of a pada and the following initial position of the pada. I am not talking about pada internal sandhi, because that pada internal sandhi is not supposed to be dissolved. If it is dissolved, then sometimes we analyze the compound, and sometimes we really don't bother to analyze that sandhi. So today we are talking about pada external sandhi, and by analyzing that sandhi, we restore the pada, we restore the components of that sentence in its original form, and then we understand the text. Okay. So in general, in Sanskrit there are three kinds of sandhis. I am not talking about in the context of Paninian grammar, because if we want to talk about in the context of Paninian grammar, then there are pancha sandhis. You might know when you learn the Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, but for the sake of general understanding and getting basic linguistic skills in Sanskrit, I have put it in simple words. I have simplified the procedure to understand sandhis in Sanskrit. So in general, there are three kinds of sandhis. That is, one is vowel sandhi. Sanskrit word Sanskrit word for that is swara sandhi. Consonant sandhis, that is vyanjana sandhi, and then visarga sandhis. If you go back to the Paninian terminology, swara sandhi is ach sandhi, vyanjana sandhi is hal sandhi. Visarga, Panini uses the word visarga, so we don't need to supply any other word for that. So now vowel sandhis are again divided into two categories: ekadesha sandhis and non-ekadesha sandhis. And then there are consonant sandhis, where only the first initial sound of the following pada is going to be replaced, and in visarga sandhi also the visarga is replaced. So okay, what is the vowel sandhi? Vowel sandhi can be described as follows. Vowel at the end of the pada is followed by another pada that begins with a vowel. Then either of the vowel or both of them undergo change. So let us see what happens to A plus B is changed to C plus B, means A, which is the vowel in this context at the end of the previous pada, and B is a vowel at the beginning of the next pada. I will only talk about two vowel sandhi types, that is yan sandhi and ayavayava sandhi. So yan sandhi is simple. Yan means it is a pratyahara. You might have learnt Shiva Sutras in the Laghu Siddhanta, at the beginning of the Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, and you might have learnt how to form pratyaharas. So yan is basically a pratyahara referring to the Shiva Sutras, and this yan is representing four semi vowels: ya, va, ra, la. Okay, so yan sandhi means yan substitute. Yan sandhi means yan substitute. Yan substitute means there will be a substitute in the form of yan. So either there will be ya, either there will be va, either there will be ra, or either there will be la. Okay, so when does this change occur, and at which place it occurs? Since yan sandhi and ayavayava sandhi are in the formula that only A is going to be replaced by C, and C we know it's either ya, va, or ra, or la. Four members we have. So now C we got in the form of yan. What is A? So there is a correspondence that E or Rasva E or Dirgha E will be replaced by ya. For example, in Ityadi, Iti, Adi, E at the final position of the previous pada Iti, Adi, A is at the position of initial position in the word Adi. So A causes E to get replaced by ya, and we have Ityadi. Or Etani Atilalayet, E at the end of the pada Etani, A at the beginning of the next pada Atilalayet, E is replaced by ya, Etanyatilalayet. Then the next example for ver replacement. Ver comes at the place of dirgha u or rasva u. So for example, ver hetu arop. U is at the end of the end of the word hetu, followed by the word arop. That is a vowel initial word, and a is at the beginning of the word arop. So u in hetu is replaced by ver. A remains unchanged, and we have hetvarop. Tvati dur dine. Tu ati dur dine. Again same. Tu ends in u. The next word, the next pada begins with a vowel a. U is replaced by va. Tvati dur dine. A remains the same. Then ru is replaced by r. It's a very simple example. Kru adi. Kru rukara is at the end of the word kru, and a is at the beginning of the word adi. So a causes rukara replaced by r, and we have the word kradi. A remains unchanged. Not to forget that r is a vowel. Many people don't know it. R is a vowel. R is a consonant. Okay, then after learning all these 4 rules, you can now go back and just gather 4 chapters in Purvardha of the Ashtanga Hridaya. Go through it and find out what are the yant sandhis used in those first 4 chapters. This is a kind of we always I always give a small kind of exercise whenever I conduct any lecture, but today since we are meeting online and I cannot monitor what you are doing, just after knowing about these 4 rules, you can go back on your own as your self study and find out how many yant sandhis are there in first 4 chapters of the Purvardha of the Ashtanga Hridaya. Okay. Then next is Ayavayava Sandhi. Again, Ayavayava Sandhi is representing 4 substitutes, and those are I, av and av. They come at the place of ao, I, au. Sorry, a, I, o, au. So same context is there. There are 2 vowels. One is at the end of the pada, the other one is at the beginning of the pada. And this other pada, which is the second pada, should begin with a vowel, and that initial vowel will cause the preceding vowel to change. Okay. So for example, deve iti, a is followed by e, replaced by I, devai iti, devayiti. Sometimes this ya is replaced, is deleted. So we have this deva iti also. Sometimes it happens. Ta iti, te iti, ta iti. O at the end of the previous pada, the following pada begins with a vowel, then that initial vowel will cause O to change to av. Vishnu iti, Vishnaviti. And sometimes this V is also deleted, and so it is Vishnu iti. But that's an optional deletion. Then I at the end of the previous pada, any vowel at the beginning of the following pada, that causes I to change to I. So nadyai iti, nadyai iti, nadyayiti. I is changed by I. And then au is changed by av. Ashtau angani. Ashtav Angani. Ashtavangani tasyahur. That is the beginning of the Ashtanga Hridaya. So this au is replaced by av and we have Ashtavangani. Doshau udarutau. Doshav udarutau. Doshav udarutau. Here u caused au to change to av and a caused au in Ashtav to change to av. So this is the Ayavayava Sandhi, Yan Sandhi and Ayavayava Sandhi. So again go back to the first 4 chapters and find out are there any Ayavayava Sandhis. I gave you 2 examples, Ashtavangani Tasyahuhu and then Dosha Udhartau. Okay, then let's come back to the Ekadesha Sandhi. And in Ekadesha Sandhi, there are 5 types, Guna Vruddhi, Savarna Dirgha, Purva Rupa and Pararupa. But I only cover Purva Rupa. Pararupa Ekadesh is most of the times Pada internal, so we don't need to go into it. For the sake of understanding the text and Pada external Sandhis, Purva Rupa Sandhi is enough to know. Okay, so what it is called by Guna Sandhi? When a or a is followed by e, u or lu, that means rasva e, rasva u, dirgha u, rukara or lukara, then both the sounds, ekadesha, single substitute, then both the sounds are substituted by a, o, r and al respectively. For example, Rameshaha, Rama Isha, right? The word Ramesha is composed of 2 words, Rama and Isha. A is at the final position of the first pada and Isha is, E is at the initial position of the following pada. So we have Ramesha. A and E both are replaced by A. So a simple example are Tavodakam, Tava Udakam, Mamecha, Mama Ichha and Tatra Karaha, Tatra Rikaraha. Ar Sandhi and Al Sandhis are also again little, not very common. Most of the time we find this Ar Sandhi, Guna Sandhi with Rikara in some kind of Dhatu and Upasarga combinations. Likewise, in the Samhita, for example, if you read this Dvividhopakramaniya Adhyaya, in that there is the word Evopakramaha, right? This is a Guna Sandhi where Eva and Upakramaha, these are the 2 padas, where Eva ends in A and Upakrama begins with U. A and U are replaced by O. Then we go to Vriddhi Sandhi. Vriddhi Sandhi is when A or A is followed by A or O or I or Au, then both the sounds are substituted by I or Au respectively. For example, Gangaugha, Ganga and Ogha. So Ganga ends in A, Ogha begins with O, A and O are replaced by Au and we have the word Gangaugha. Example is Tavaudanaha, Tava Odanaha, Mamaushadham, Mama Aushadham. Here both the words Tava and Mama end in A and respectively Odana and Aushadham begin with O and Au. Then A and O are replaced by Au. A and Au also are replaced by Au. So we have Tava Udanaha, Mamaushadham. I always get examples from a specific adhyaya. So here again I was doing my search on this Dvividhopakramaniya adhyaya. I wanted to know how many Vriddhi Sandhis are there, Guna Sandhis are there. So here is one example, Dvidhaiva, Dvidha Eva. Here Dvidha ends in A and eva, the word begins with a and a both are replaced by I, so we have dvidhaiva. Then it's very famous sandhi, savarna dirgha sandhi. When a or ee or oo or r are followed by their homogeneous sounds. Homogeneous sounds means a and a both are homogeneous, savarna to each other. E and e are savarna to each other. U and u are savarna to each other. And if you don't know, r also has its own homogeneous sound, that is dirgha r. But dirgha rukara is always rare, so we will just keep it for the sake of the rule, but we will focus on a, e and u. A and a are homogeneous, e and e are homogeneous, and u and u are homogeneous. So when they follow each other, then both of them are replaced by a long homogeneous sound. For example, dandagra. Danda means a stick and agra means a tip of it. So dandagra means tip of a stick. So danda and agra. Danda ends in a, agra begins with a. Both of them come together and are replaced by a, and we have the word dandagra. Now, if we find out what kind of sandhis we find in this Dvividhopakramaniya Adhyaya, and that is Doshagatyatiryachyate, verse 37. Doshagatya atiricyate. Here Doshagatya ends in a and atiricyate begins with a. So both of the sounds are replaced by a long homogeneous sounds, that is a, and we have the Samhita Doshagatyatirichyate. However, there are two words here, Doshagatya, Atirichyate. It's not one word since it is written together. No, that's not the case in Sanskrit. You have to analyze all of the padas in a sentence, and the first step towards it is to dissolve sandhis. Okay, then there is a Purva Rupa Sandhi. When a or o is followed by a, then both of them are replaced by a or u. For example, agne atra. Okay, agne atra. Hey agne tvam atra. Agnetra. A is followed by a. Then both of them are actually between these two sounds, the previous one retains. That's the logic behind Purva Rupa Sandhi. The previous one, Purva, means the previous sound retains its position. So in Agne Atra, a disappears, only a retains, and we have Agnetra. But this position of a was there, or a is there but not pronounced, to indicate that in Devanagari we add this sound like Roman S. That sound is a sign is or symbol is called avagraha. So agnetra, here agne atra, two components. Okay, now what is in Samhita? In verse 9, Grishme paran. Grishme aparan. The previous one ends in a, the following one begins with a. So there is Ekadesha Sandhi. Only the previous sound is retained. So Grishme, and a disappears, and that is shown with the sign of avagraha. Okay, so here are the other examples from the chapter. Nodirayati in the 6th verse, Nati Vartate in 4th verse, Chapatarpanam, I think it should be 1 in the first verse, Tatrapi in the 4th, Jayante ti Vilanghanat in 31st verse, and Stham Sthavimatyanta Nishevanaihi in 33rd verse. So these are examples. You can go back and find out related to ekadesha sandhis, where there is guna sometimes, where sometimes it is purva rupa sandhi, or sometimes it is savarna dirgha sandhi. So I will take a moment here. If anybody has any if anybody has any question, I would like to take one or two questions here. Are questions allowed, madam?
Yes, ma'am. Questions are allowed. Students, usually we keep question and answer session at the end of the lecture, but
Yeah, but
now
we
also they can ask.
yeah, I think since I covered most of the important vowels on these, I think if they have any question, they can ask. One or two, not more than that.
Students, you can ask your questions now. Any one of you can ask. I have enabled unmute option. So you can unmute yourselves and ask the question. Anybody? Vaibhav, Vinay, Rashmi, Sumedha?
Okay, nobody has a question. Fine, I will go ahead. Okay, then let us discuss about Visarga Sandhis. Visarga Sandhis is a very straightforward Sandhi where we all know that, okay, one of the substitute is Visarga always. Sorry, one of the substituent, one of the sthanin is always a Visarga. And since Visarga is Ayogavaha, means Visarga is always pronounced after a vowel, there is no possibility of pronouncing a visarga after a consonant. So always we eliminate one important possibility, that a visarga will have a consonant preceding. Never ever occurs. So there is always a vowel before a visarga, and then it depends what follows, then it depends what then it will decide. If a consonant is following, then visarga will have some change. If a vowel is following, then visarga will change into something else. However, in visarga sandhi we always have to note two positions: before visarga and after visarga. And also, before visarga, if there is a, then there are more variations, and before visarga, if there is no a, other than a there are other vowels, then there are some variations. But don't forget, whenever you dissolve a visarga sandhi, there will be always a vowel before a visarga. So that makes our life easy. Okay. So in this simple diagram, I show that how many options for visarga are there to change into. Okay. So visarga can change to ra, visarga can change to sa, visarga can change to sh, visarga can change to sh, or to o, or to lopa. When I say visarga changes to lopa, when I say visarga changes to o, I deviate from Paninian tradition, because Panini doesn't Panini tells us visarga changes to u, and then with the following a it forms this guna sandhi. But for the sake of our simple understanding, we will say that visarga changes to o. And then lopa is deletion. So visarga is deleted many times, and that is this deletion of visarga is most of the time a tricky place to analyze the sandhi in a sentence or in the basic text. Okay, so let us see how visarga changes to ra, sa, sha, o or lop. And why I'm telling in the form of this diagram, because if there is a short note on visarga sandhi, then you can just use this kind of a diagram and add one or two sentences for each of this substitute, give examples, and then you get full marks, since in these days marks are very important. So I just give you a trick to earn more marks. Okay, so when visarga changes to ra, the previous before visarga there are several options other than a, either e, u, a, I, o, either of this before visarga, just eliminate a there, and following after visarga either a vowel or a semi vowel or ha, anunasika means vargiya vyanjana, the fifth consonant, that is ya, ma, nga, na, na, or in shiksha order it is nga, ya, na, ma, from kanthya to osthya, from guttural sounds to labial sounds. And then vargiya tritiya or chaturtha vyanjana. So ahuratreyadayaha is the basic text, right? Ahuratreyadayaha. Simple dissolution is ahuhu atreyadayaha. Here visarga became ra because before visarga there was u and after visarga there was any vowel a. Shuchir bhishak, shuchihi bhishak. So before visarga there was e, after visarga there was vargiya chaturtha vyanjana p, ph, b, bh. So visarga changed to ra. Then when visarga changes to sa, when there is any vowel before a visarga, obviously don't eliminate any vowel, but the following is the or th. It's very simple. Either you control the following environment, phonetic environment, or you control the previous environment before a visarga. So here we have to control simple, the following only two consonants, either th or th, then visarga changes to sa. Ashritaste, ashritaha te, rajastamaha, rajaha tamaha. Then visarga changes to sh. Simple, the previous situation was same, but just change the following consonants, either ch or ch, then visarga changes to sh. Tamascha, tamascha jnanajam bhinnam, right? Tamascha, tamaha cha, chardishcha, chardihi cha. Here visarga is there followed by ch, so everywhere we have visarga is replaced by sh. Then visarga is changed to sh. Again, just following consonants are only two options, either t or th. I couldn't find any example in Samhita, so I give you traditional example. Ramash tikate. Tikate means he goes. Ramaha tikate. Rama goes. So here after visarga t is there, so visarga is changed to sh, and we have Ramash tikate. Then comes visarga o, right? Visarga changes to o. Then, but for changing visarga o, we have very specific environment. Before visarga there should be short a, rasva a, and after visarga there should be either a or vargiya tritiya chaturtha vyanjana or anunasika or semi vowels or h. So vyapinopi, Vyapinaha api. Here, before Visarga there is a short a, Rasva a. After Visarga there is Rasva a. Visarga became O. And then there is Purva Rupa Sandhi, where this a disappeared and shown with this avagraha sign. Again, Pumso Jitatmanaha. Pumsaha Jitatmanaha. Because before Visarga there is a short a, and after Visarga there is J, which is Tritiya Vyanjana. Cha, J. Tritiya Vyanjana. Vargiya Tritiya Vyanjana. So there becomes Visarga, Visarga is replaced by O. However, the following is a consonant, so there is no possibility of further sandhi like in Vyapinopi. Then Visarga is deleted. When does Visarga get deleted? Before Visarga there should be A, and after Visarga there should be any vowel or a consonant other than ta, th, cha, cha, ta, th. Okay? Any consonant other than dental, palatal and retroflex sounds. Okay, Shrestha Nindya Dvidoshajaha. Shresthaha Nindyaha Dvidoshajaha. Before Visarga there is A. After Visarga there is, in the first place, Na, which is an Anunasika. And before Visarga there is A in Nindya. And after Visarga there is the, which is not ta or th or cha or cha or ta or tha. Roga dvidha, again rogaha dvidha. Visarga is deleted. Visarga has the lopa replacement. Okay, so here ends the Visarga Sandhi. So should I stop here, or what should I do? Tell me, madam.
Ma'am, we can continue with Vyanjana Sandhi, no problem.
Okay.
There are still 15 minutes. Even
Well,
if you want, we can continue.
Okay. So in Vyanjana Sandhi, I just formulated those rules which are common and which are necessary to understand the text. I didn't really follow all of the rules in the Lagu Siddhanta Kaumudi or Siddhanta Kaumudi. I don't do that. I just summarized some of the common sandhis and I formulated these rules. So first rule is consonants followed by any vowel, semi-vowel or consonants followed by any vowel, semi-vowel, Vargiya Tritiya or Chaturtha Vyanjana, then it is changed to Tritiya Vyanjana. So for example, Bhaved Vishamaha. Here, Bhavet Vishamaha. Ta changes to the. So the consonant changes to Vargiya Tritiya Vyanjana if it's a Vargiya consonant. Sheshatvad Ayushaha. Sheshatvat Ayushaha. Tyajed Artam. Tyajet Artam. Archayed Devago Vipra, etc. Archayet Devago Vipra. Then the second rule is Vargiya Vyanjana followed by an Anunasika. Then Anunasika Savarna to the Vargiya Vyanjana. So for example, Kuryan Navamanyeta. Kuryat na avamanyeta. So this Vargiya Vyanjana followed by a Anunasika. Then this Vargiya Vyanjana is transformed into its own homogeneous Anunasika. Then Tishthet Naktam. Tishthen Naktam. Ta is changed to na again when na follows ta. Tishthet Naktam. Then the third rule is Ta Vargiya Vyanjana at the end of the pada followed by la at the beginning of the pada. Then ta changes to la. Bhavel Lakshyam. Bhavet Lakshyam. Or Vidwan Likhati. Vidwan likhati. So any of the ta vargiya vyanjana followed by la, then both of them, then the ta vargiya vyanjana is replaced by la. However, when anunasika gets replaced, then the semi vowels have anunasika variation. So that likhati, this anuswara, is also telling us that the replacement is anunasika la, not just la. Then the fourth rule is vargiya vyanjana except anunasika is followed by ha. Then ha changes to chaturtha varna, means vaghasati, vaghasati. So here two rules we have to apply. This ka changed to its third tritiya vyanjana and ha changed to fourth vyanjana. Vagharihi, vagharihi. Again ka changed to ga and ha changed to gha. Then the rule is, then simple common we find in the text is sandhis like tasmyushcha. If I try to formulate a rule, it will be more complicated. So let us just come to the conclusion that what are the components of this consonant sandhis. Tasmyushcha is tasmin and cha. Madhuraans tyajet, madhuran tyajet. So most of the times there is na at the end of the pada, and then if any consonant is following, then sometimes there is sh inserted. Tasmyushcha, tasmincha, madhurans tyajet, madhuran tyajet. Okay, so in a nutshell, I can tell you which sandhis we need to dissolve and which sandhis we just need to understand. So you might have known this shloka. Samhitaika pade nitya धातुपसर्गयोः nitya samase vakyesa vivaksham apekshate. Here samhita is always interpreted as sandhi. So sandhi is ekapade nitya. In a word, means pada internal sandhi is always nitya. You don't need to dissolve it, but you need to understand it. For example, if there is a word daityari, daityarihi, it is a compound, daityasya arihi. But since daitya ends in a and ari begins with a, there is a pada internal sandhi. You don't need to dissolve it. You need to understand the sandhi after dissolving compound. So if somebody asks you an example of a sandhi as daityari, then I would say that is not a standard example of a sandhi. If you want to dissolve a sandhi, then give always example of pada external sandhis. Then nitya dhatu upasargayoho. The dhatu and upasarga always have nitya sandhi, means you don't need to dissolve it but need to understand it. And then nitya samase, as I gave the example of daityari. But vakye sa vivaksham apekshate. Vakye, there is optional sandhi. You can dissolve it, or sometimes you can just avoid to do sandhis. So you always remember this verse to understand where sandhis can occur in Sanskrit, which we need to dissolve and which we need to just understand and then further analyze the word. Okay, here ends my presentation. Now I will take questions if time permits. Thank you so much. I again thank the organizers of the Ayurveda College Mysuru for giving me this opportunity, and I enjoy thoroughly to talk to the Ayurveda community when it comes to talk about Sanskrit linguistic aspects. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Students, Anybody has a question, you can ask. I have enabled the option. You can unmute yourselves and ask a question.
You can also, if nobody wants to ask in live, you can write in chat section. And if you don't want to see other people, you can also chat privately with me. I will repeat the question and try to answer. So everybody is doesn't what will they say is nissandeha. That's good. That means it was a good attempt.
Ma'am, I would like to just discuss with you because they might be having a fear to ask. Actually, a question comes for 3 marks or 5 marks for Sandhi. Let us say the question has come for Savarna Dirgha Sandhi
Yes.
for 3 marks.
Yes.
So can you please discuss that what students should write to acquire 3 marks?
As I said that if it's 3 marks, I would always start with what is sandhi in one word. Sandhi is an adesha, and sandhi occurs. Sandhi is a euphonic change, so it will always occur between two sounds. Sorry. So if it is Savarna Dirgha Sandhi, then you just write the rule as I provided on my slide. You write that rule and example. Example is very important. If the example is not given, I would not say that it's a complete answer. And if you really don't know the rule, still by example you can describe it. And I will encourage to give examples from the Ashtanga Hridaya, because they read it for a Samhita part. When they learn Samhita, they read it. So they can, there are several examples in their, let's say they are reading Purvardha of the Ashtanga Hridaya. At least 2 examples for each type of Sandhi they will find. So start with example. If
question in chat box.
Oh yes. Vruddhi Sandhi, can you please explain again? So Vruddhi Sandhi is, again, okay, let me pull out my presentation. Can I share again screen? So Vruddhi Sandhi is actually, Vruddhi is a term for a Vruddhi Radhich, I and Au. Vruddhi is a term for I and Au. Okay. So always whenever we say Vruddhi Sandhi, it's a replacement. So either I will come or Au will come for 2 sounds, and both the components are fixed. It is either a or a, or a, I, o, either 4 diphthongs. So a or a plus diphthongs gives rise to Vruddhi Sandhi. If a and I, a or I are following, then I is replacing both the sounds. If o or au are following, au replaces both the sounds. Just keep the example mama aushadham, because the word aushadha you use always. You are becoming doctors, so the word aushadha is very commonly used, and it is in your day-to-day conversations. And just add one a ending or a ending pada before it, like I added mama aushadham, mama aushadham. This is Vruddhi Sandhi.
Thank Thank you, ma'am. There is one more question about
Yeah.
Vyantana Sandhi.
What is the difference between
I think
internal
the
sandhi
answer.
and samasa? There is no yes, example is for internal sandhi. For example, if you have learnt any kind of okay, I will give rakshobhyam. So rakshas is the word which means a demon. Rakshobhihi, okay. So rakshobhihi, here rakshas is the pratipadika, the basic nominal base ends in sa and followed by the pratyaya bhis, right? So it becomes o, visarga became o, sa becomes visarga, visarga became o. So rakshobhihi is this internal sandhi, but in samasa, as I gave example, daityarihi. So two meaningful words come together to form a samasa. Samasa is also an example of internal sandhi, but outside samasa, internal sandhi is between a prakriti and pratyaya. Can you explain lopasandhi? Lopasandhi means just deletion, okay? Deletion of the visarga. So visarga is deleted. Shrestha nindya dvidosha jaha. So here, where is lopa? Yeah, Shrestha nindya dvidosha jaha. Here visarga is just deleted. Why? Because of the environment. And what is the environment? Before visarga there should be a, and after visarga there is any vowel or consonant other than ta, tha, cha, cha, ta, tha. However, to understand this lopasandhi, you need to know many of the forms. So Shresthaha is Prathama Bahuvachana. If you know that form, then you have the command on these lopasandhis, visarga lopasandhis. How to present it in exam to get full marks, ma'am? Oh wow. As I said, give example, and with the example write a rule. And for sandhis, if you write rules like I have written, you will get full marks. Doesn't matter. Give example always. That will give you full marks. Is that the answer? Is that an okay answer? Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, there is one more question in my chat
Yes.
box. Is it
Okay.
necessary to write Sutra of Sandhi in exam?
It depends how your
Sandhi
teacher
Sutra.
has trained you. Right, it depends how your teacher has trained you. I would say ideally you should write the sutra, but I don't know what's the policy. To be very honest.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, if the question is for only 3 marks, Sutra itself will come for explanation. Akasavarne Dirgha, like that. Sutra will come. Then we don't need to write Sutra again. But sometimes the question comes for 5 marks and they say only Visarga Sandhi. So in Visarga Sandhi, at least few sutras or some words from directly from Lagu Siddhanta Kaumundi they should write to get give the expression that they have understood it completely. For that,
Yeah, I mean,
important.
because it depends on the how you train people. When I was teaching Ayurveda, the students in my class, they couldn't even read Devanagari, so I had to teach them how to read Devanagari, then the basic Sanskrit, then sutras. So the strategy of the college at that time was to train them in basic Sanskrit skills. So I did not even make them read Lagu Siddhanta Kaumudi. I couldn't. I was really helpless. So I don't know how you train people. If you train students, and if you have read all of those sutras in the class, then they know what is the syllabus, then they should um, at least refer to the sutra. That's true, but it's completely a very practical take on. But my point is, even if you don't need to struggle, you need to understand the rule, and you need to understand the example. Then it's very easy, it's not that much difficult. That's how I don't really know how to get marks in exams to be very honest.
That thing is up to students,
Yes,
how they present their understanding to the
yes,
exam.
yes, yes.
So I would suggest all of you students that if because we have learnt original sutras from Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi while we were learning Sandhis and Samasas, everything. So if you by heart few main sutras, then it would be really helpful for you.
And simple thing to do is, when you do when you prepare for samhita part, you just apply those rules while reading the adhyaya. That will make them it's not Sanskrit is no need to study differently. While you are reading the samhita, start applying those rules, then it will be easy. That's my I always give examples from the Ayurveda text to the Ayurveda community, because then they understand the rule, then they understand grammar. Okay, so shall we stop here?
Yes, ma'am. I think all questions are answered, I think. Now, if students, if you have more questions, you can contact me. I will forward your questions to madam. And she conducts many other courses through Open Pathshala. Am I right, ma'am?
And I only conduct one course on the Rigveda through the Sanskrit Pathshala, and I mainly conduct
So it's
courses through the Sanskrit library. Yes.
Sanskrit library. Okay. Students, I would suggest you that you please go through the sanskritlibrary.org link and go through their courses. If you are really interested, please you can find the material and courses there listed.
Yeah, and in next 6 months there will be a course on the Ayurveda to learn Sanskrit through Ayurveda, but semi-automatic course, where you learn basics of grammars. You dissolve all of the exercises online, get immediate feedback. So it will be semi automatic course. In next 6 months we are coming up with that. Okay.
That will be great resource to learn something for Ayurvedic students.
Yes.
Okay, so now I would ask Rishikesh sir to render a vote of thanks.
Namaste. Namaste, madam. My humble pranams in the lotus feet of Sri Shivaratri Deshigendra Mahaswami. It is my privilege to render vote of thanks in today's special guest lecture on Sanskrit to help our students. As we all are Ayurvedic physicians, as we have to, the word meaning of Samhita itself is a code. So without decoding this, without understanding the siddhantas inside this code, can't able to use this the purest science. So without the help of this Deva Bhasha, we can't do any of the things in our science. So I'm very grateful to you, madam, for first of all, uh, let me thank you uh, for your esteemed uh, guest lecture and scholarly words and were friendly answers to our students. And Dr. Tanuja P. Ajodikar, Assistant Professor, the Sanskrit Library, Co-Director, India Programs at Department of Sanskrit, Maharshi Vedic University. And along with that, I'm thanking our beloved principal and academic coordinator, Dr. Deepa Madam, and this Shruti Madam to contact like to get like this eminent uh, uh, faculties to our students. Thank you all. Thank you all the students. You one thing you please use this opportunity. Once in a while only
नाही
you
नाही ते
get
उद्या नाही येत ना.
chances for a thing. Stay in the contact to this opportunity properly and get success in life. Thank you, madam,
आणि मी
for
आल्यावर विचारेन त्यांना अजून
giving us
काही
your valuable time. In the name of Department of Agriculture, the name of our college, we are showing our respect, gratitude, everything. Further, in any of the circumstances, respecting your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Students, I would like to share one thing that she is my senior in Pune University. So I'm really delighted, madam, that you accepted the request and delivered this guest lecture. I'm really delighted. So we would like to end today's session with your permission.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much again to the principal of the college and the other senior authorities. Thank you.